Buddy, welcome back to the show. Bit of a different setup today.
GOAT.
I'm visiting my sister right now, so we are on mobile recording mode, which does include a strange
It feels like weird, because usually after smoking indica, like my eyes immediately start getting heavy. But this feels weird.
glowing blue microphone. Yes, I tried to turn it off. No, I couldn't get it to turn off. Lightsaber mic is what we're working with today. So a few weeks ago, I made a video called Dissecting a YouTube Reaction. After that was posted, the creator that I talked about in it, Cheeto, released a response video titled My Response. There I am again in the thumbnail. That's me, purple boy.
Purple boy.
This response was interesting.
Well, I smoked indica to go to sleep. But I got a sativa and I got this hybrid as well to smoke like throughout the day. And hopefully it doesn't make... I will say this though. The sativa does... I don't know if it's like... if it's kind of like lightheaded type. You know what I mean? Like it kind of makes me feel a little lightheaded.
Starts the video off by admitting that he was
like,
wrong.
I feel like I'm like
things,
floating
that he wants to change these things about his content moving forward. Things like letting people finish making their points before responding in his reaction videos.
In this new video, he argues that in my reaction to him, I cut him off before he's able to make an entire point, and that if I didn't cut him off, I would be able to better understand his arguments and then refute his argument. So that's a fair criticism, and if I ever make a video on somebody like him in the future, while they're making points, I'll try not to cut them off.
Not commenting on people's lives when he doesn't know them.
Obviously, I have no clue how this guy lives 90% of his life, so for me to just say that, it's like, I don't know what the guy does.
And doing better to explain what his problems with content are before just making fun of it.
He also made another good point, which is when I read his titles in my video, I didn't really explain why they were bad or why I had a problem with it. I just kind of read them and assumed that you guys understood what was wrong with them.
You might say that these things are the bare minimum, and maybe that's the case. But what it does show me is that Cheeto was willing to listen to at least some of what I had to say. And that's something that can't really be said about most reactionary internet figures. When's the last time you saw Ben Shapiro admit that he was wrong about something and that he was going to change that aspect of his content going forward? Never. You haven't seen that ever, and you never will. However, after these opening concessions, the rest of Cheeto's video is framed as a rebuttal. He goes through my points, attempting to refute them by asking questions and providing counterarguments. And here's where we start to run into some issues. For starters, Cheeto's basic misconceptions about concepts like fat phobia remain on full display. He wonders aloud why someone that goes to the gym, like myself, isn't also automatically fatphobic like him.
What I don't get though about Noah Samsen is if he does go to the gym and he understands the importance of it, because like if you go, you kind of get why you're going, then how does he fall into the herd of people that are like, oh, fat phobia is evil? Like, how can you think fat phobia is this pressing issue, but then go to the gym?
He doubles down on his support of Kevin Samuels, going so far as to suggest that criticism of misogyny is not valid if the misogynist is dead.
So I think you can definitely criticize people's actions in their life, especially if their actions are horrid. Like if somebody dies who, I don't know, like killed people, there is no respect to be had for them after they die, right? But what did Kevin Samuels do that you think is so bad that you need to shit on him even after he died? Because all—
Yo, I said Cam. Chat, what mic should I wear? I'm not gonna lie, okay, I am kind of high. I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of liking using my cock mic from like a distance. You know what I mean? Like I've been using this mic and you can't like really see it on camera. It's right here. You can kind of see it when I do this. But I don't know, it's kind of cool.
I'm hearing from you is that you think he is a misogynist. He didn't go out and shoot a bunch of people, so this whole actions can be criticized thing doesn't really fit. From what I know about this guy, he just talked.
All of this is pretty silly, in my opinion, and I wouldn't be responding to this video if it weren't for a single point that he makes. Towards the end of his video, Cheeto misconstrues a minor point that I made in a pretty serious way. When I pointed out how the framing of one of the videos on his channel played into a popular current trend of anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, he took this personally, as an accusation that he was causing hate crimes.
I would say this is one of the most important points in the video that really made me mad, and I think was just like wrong in so many ways, was that this guy tried to insinuate that my videos contribute to hate crimes. So this is a crazy fucking claim, okay? To say that a YouTuber either directly or indirectly contributes to actual hate, violent crimes, right?
You ain't really
like
miss
people,
much,
like
bro. Same
shootings,
shit
right?
happens
And
every day. Let's
stabbings
talk.
and murders and all that, right? To insinuate that somebody is at all tied to that is a huge claim.
Because of this, he goes on to denounce any terrorists in his audience.
Noah, none of my audience are terrorists. Nobody who watches my videos is influenced by terrorist ideologies. And if you do hold terrorist ideologies where you're gonna threaten to hurt people in real life, unsubscribe and leave. You are not welcome here.
I suppose that's good, but that's, not the point that I was trying to make. In this video today, I will be attempting to make that point again, but clearer. To do this, I will be going a little bit deeper into the context surrounding this current wave of online anti-LGBTQ misinformation. We are going to talk about this misinformation, how it is utilized online by bigots to promote hatred, and sustained by the less malicious but equally as ignorant actors like Cheeto. For this video, I got the opportunity to speak with someone that's been directly affected by this situation, a queer mom who has been posted on libs of TikTok and harassed by this bigoted media pipeline. I do think that this will be helpful for us to better understand the gravity of situations like these, which are becoming all the more common. So that's the plan for today.
It's gonna be 72 degrees tomorrow?
Sponsor. Sponsor. Thank you to Fabulous for sponsoring today's video.
Thank you.
So I'm a little freak for productivity and habit tracking apps, and that's why I was really excited when Fabulous reached out to partner with me for this video. Routines, habits to fit your needs. There are tons of great options to choose. Seen before. Anyone familiar with the history of LGBTQ rights movements will tell you pitting the supreme moral good of innocent children against the supreme moral evil of child grooming has long been a powerful tool in stoking hatred among the religious conservative right. It's been a tactic used against gay and trans people for decades. However, the repeated use of the word groomer to describe visible gay and trans people in an online context has a recent and specific origin. In March of this year, Florida passed House Bill 1557. Critics of the bill dubbed it the Don't Say Gay bill, and rightfully so, because that's basically what the bill does. From lines 97 to 101 of the bill, classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3, or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards.
Wait, what? You can't talk about sexual orientation or gender identity until the first... What? This is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. You have to normalize stuff like this so that way kids don't fucking grow up in a state of confusion, not understanding anything about themselves. Like, this is such an archaic... what? They backtracked on this? Bro, how is this ever even thought up? How many times have we heard of a person who had a sexual orientation that would be considered out of the norm for schools or whatever they may identify as, whether it's gay, bi, demi, pan, whatever, and them not understand that, or even gender identity. I think that goes even further, especially with gender identity. How the fuck are you not talking? You need to talk about this in schools for multiple reasons. One, so that way kids can feel seen and know that there's nothing wrong with them, that they're just people. And two, so that way you're educating the kids around them whose parents might not be well versed in that type of stuff. So that way they know that these people exist and that they're real people. It's really that simple.
Standards. What does any of this mean? Who knows? What we do know is that because of the vagueness of its language, teachers could potentially be fired for being gay and mentioning that fact in any capacity in class. In response to this accurate rebranding of the bill by critics, Florida's press secretary, Christina Pushaw, pushed back, writing on Twitter, "The bill that liberals inaccurately call Don't Say Gay would be more accurately described as an anti-grooming bill." Pushaw went on to insinuate that anyone that's against this bill is aiding in the grooming of children at the very least. If you're against the anti-grooming bill, you are probably a groomer or
when I hold on. I more so meant so that way other kids know that that LGBT people are legitimate people, right? Because if they grow up and let's say their parents are educate them on that stuff, and then they go to school and they don't educate them about that stuff, then these kids, that's when they can turn nasty towards other kids. You know what I mean? That's why I think it's important that it gets talked about and taught about in schools. So that way, like, even if your parents like are oblivious to it, because I'm not even saying anything malicious. Like, I'm not even saying that parents are raising their kids to be anti-LGBT, which of course they are. But let's just say in the scenario where somebody's parents like genuinely like just is not well versed in that topic at all, that's where the school should come in to do that shit. Like, it's just like for a group of people who like solely operates on like protecting the children and saving the children, like they really want to do a great job at either ensuring that these children are getting shot in their fucking schools, or that they have so many debilitating mental health issues that they can't even thrive or succeed in life, or in the very worst case scenario, a lot of these kids end up with like forever self-image issues, and some of these kids even take their own lives. Like, it's just crazy to me how you could like sit there on your high horse talking about like, oh, we have to do this for the kids, we do that for the kids, think of the kids, but then you actually do nothing to support these children. Fucking disgusting human beings, man, all of them. This is just fucking, it's disgusting.
Or at least you don't denounce the grooming of 4 to 8-year-old children. Silence is complicity. Since these tweets, Groomer has been mainstreamed as a way to demonize school officials, usually teachers, that provide any sort of education.
This video is about to trigger the fuck out of me.
About LGBTQ issues. And when it comes to the online space, nowhere will you see grooming accusations thrown around more than in the Twitter replies to Libs of TikTok. Libs of TikTok is a Twitter profile with 1.4 million followers that serves as a hotbed of anti-LGBTQ disinformation.
You know how I always talk about how influencers do have a large say in what happens in their communities. You ever been to a protest? The only times where there was like protests like in my city, it was still the height of COVID. So I have not been to a protest. No, I have not. But what I was gonna say is this shit right here is how people get radicalized. High key. This shit right here is genuinely how people get radicalized. Because people see stuff like this, and the easiest way, I'm spitting. The easiest way to get somebody to, like on your side is with jokes, right? Because most people, like, they're more accepting of jokes because like jokes are meant to be jokes. They're not meant to be taken seriously or whatever. But then the first thing you do, right, is you start laughing at the libs of TikTok and the ridiculous, outrageous libs or whatever the fuck. And then you start to conflate anybody that is a lib or anybody that falls under similar umbrellas, and you see them all as what you saw on like this Twitter account, for example. This shit is what's really damaging. This is why, like, when the whole bullshit with the whenever anything happens on Twitch, and people say shit like, oh, what about the women that are half naked or whatever? Like, again, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I do think that's weird to have on Twitch. I do. It is what it is. It's allowed on Twitch. People do it, whatever. I may not agree with it, but whatever. I think that is such a small, minute issue compared to the actual shit on this platform that is actually impacting kids' lives. People say, oh, what about the kids? A kid goes on Twitch and sees Amaranth's fucking bikini. Okay, a kid's gonna go on Twitch and see niggas spitting shit like this. Now all of a sudden they're fucking going down the alt-right pipeline like they're doing a fucking World 8 4-skip in Super Mario Bros. Like, dude, like this shit is infinitely worse to the growth and the health of young boys' minds.
The account posts TikToks of teachers, school events, or young people a part of the LGBTQ community, usually out of context, in order to falsely frame them as groomers or grooming victims. Rhetoric from this account can be directly tied to literal hate crimes, drag events being stormed by armed far-right militias, healthcare workers facing violent threats, and teachers being fired for being...
You know what? Like, when I hear... I also saw a TikTok about medical racism. This is something I'm sure you guys have heard of, but it was a story of this woman who was saying that, like, during childbirth or whatever, like, she was in extreme pain, like excruciating pain, and she was crying for help. And then the nurse was like, shut up or whatever the fuck. I'm trying to, like, do this paperwork or whatever. And she's, like, literally screaming in pain. And then the nurse is like, oh, I know you're just drug seeking. I know you're just, you're just trying to get a fix or whatever, blah, 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 whatever. Eventually what ends up happening is that they find out that there was a medical emergency, and pretty much, like, her kid, like died inside of her. And they had to resuscitate her kid. Not only that, she also died for, like, 10, 15 seconds before being, like, resuscitated or whatever. She went through this. And furthermore, that hospital reported that she had drug-seeking behavior and that she was a drug addict. So now she had, like, child services investigating her while she went through all this. And through some fucking miracle, her son is alive and healthy, and he is a beautiful little boy. Through all that. But she had to go through that. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking... Because that situation could have ended up so much fucking worse. And there are countless reports of medical racism. I think I was reading something on Twitter, I think, of a nurse or a practitioner, one of those two, and they went to, like, a break room where two doctors were, like, talking or whatever, and they were pretty much saying how I don't even want to say this because this coming out of my mouth makes my skin crawl. But they were saying something about the effect of, like, how black people can naturally sustain more pain than other folks. Which, by the way, is a way more popular thought than you think it is. It's fucking disgusting. It makes me so grateful and thankful that the hospital I go to is pretty much like it's run by all people of color, like dead ass. All the nurses, the doctors, all, like, I'd say all, but that's kind of an over exaggeration. Mostly people of color, because I live in an area where there's mostly people of color. So a lot of, like, Spanish speaking folks or whatever. And the hospital is also really inclusive about, like, pronouns and gender identity and sexual orientation, all that stuff. Like, very, I feel fucking lucky that I have a good hospital, because a lot of people do not have that. The thing is, you cannot control or oppress the hospital at all in America because they are a monopoly, so they have no reason to make changes. I mean, again, everything is a business in America. It is. Healthcare, a business. Some fucking how. Jails, a business. It was something along the lines of allowing black people to not get painkillers during certain things under the assumption that we can withstand more pain. That, like, that's fucking insane to me. Oh, this person talks a lot about medical... Do you have a good TikTok you can link me?
In the United States, black newborns are 2 times as likely to die as white newborns during delivery. But a study published in July 2020 showed that when black babies are delivered by black doctors, mortality rates cut in half, especially in complicated cases. The same relationship wasn't found between white doctors and white newborn births. Reducing the rates of preterm and low birth weights has become the focus of national initiatives. Most recently, in September 2021, Health and Human Services announced $350 million to strengthen maternal and child health across the nation. In the United States, black newborns are 2 times as likely to die.
God, it's so hard to try to not be a fucking doomer.
Openly LGBTQ. Chaya Raichik, the Libs of TikTok account owner, often actually tags the school districts and school accounts of the teachers that she posts.
Oh, wow. This goes further than them just making memes on Twitter. I thought y'all was against cancel culture. Like, what is this? Isn't this what y'all literally hate? They called in a bomb threat on a kid's hospital. Oh shit, wait, why didn't my alerts play? My fault. Hold on. I'll replay this alert so we can hear it. Because there it is.
I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm just stroking my shit. I'm horny as fuck, man. I'm a freak, man.
The doctors at my birth delivered me wrong and I came out half paralyzed. My mom had just came into the country, so she had no idea that this was wrong. The doctors were calling her 24/7, afraid that she would sue. To this day, my right arm can't fully rotate.
You know what's fucked up too? It doesn't matter how much you sue when your life or the lives of those you love are changed forever. That's fucking disgusting, man.
Urging them to be fired, once again, for being gay, or like displaying pride flags in class or whatever else. Here she is bragging about one of her tweets that got this teacher fired in 2021.
Before we watch the next one, did anything happen to this particular teacher?
Yeah, this one got fired actually.
Are you serious from this video?
Yeah, it was crazy. And the next day, a bunch of people in that community showed up to the school and they put American flags around the entire school.
I know exactly how she looks just by hearing her voice, by the way.
I posted
Wow.
videos of it. It was really cool.
Really
So this is like, don't act like you're doing this for the good of anything. Like, you're very obviously a very vindictive person. You're doing this out of spite and hatred. And what is it called when you have spite and hatred for a marginalized group of people? Chat, what's that word? What's that word called?
cool stuff here, for sure. Very cool. Thank you. Libs of TikTok is frequently cited by Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, the freaks over at the Daily Wire, and basically any right-wing media outlet you can think of. If they have an anti-LGBTQ agenda, they're using Libs of TikTok as a source for content. Christina Pusha. Oh, there she is again. She frequently interacts with and shares content from this account. Okay, just a quick editor's note. So apparently Libs of TikTok has been suspended from Twitter again.
Backwatch. Woo.
It's just a 7-day suspension though, which is odd because they've already had one of those before. Usually if you've received one, you don't get a second one. You just get permabanned. So not sure what's going on there, but I will leave any updates about it in a pinned comment. So if Fox News, Daily Wire, and Libs of TikTok are all the primary drivers of this moral panic in media, then where does our guy Achido fit in? What is his role and why is he even a part of this video? And well, as I put it before, his role is that of the useful idiot. Now, I must first clarify here, calling someone a useful idiot is not the same thing as just calling them an idiot. Useful idiot is a political term with a specific meaning. It actually has roots in Red Scare anti-communism, which we do not like to see, but when I use it, it is very communist and quite very much epic. Based on Achido's response, it seems like he just maybe hasn't heard this term before.
Could you imagine what would happen if a liberal account called in a bomb threat to, like, I don't know, where the fuck do like alt-right niggas go? The gun range? Like, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, could you imagine what they would say on Twitter?
And that's okay. But we do need to go over it because I think
Yeah,
this
the
misunderstanding.
golf course. Could you imagine if somebody like called in a, which by the way, I'm not like advocating for that at all. Obviously, a bomb threat is a fucking horrible thing to do. But like, what I'm bringing that up because like, they literally called in a bomb threat, by the way, to like a hospital. Which is like, you can't even equate that. Like, a hospital is probably top 1 places to call in a bomb threat. Like, in terms of like severity, I meant. Not top 1. That sounded bad. But like, a children's it goes even further. That's like the worst place. Not that you should do it ever, obviously, but like that's like the worst of the worst.
Might have colored his response to what I was saying.
So he tries to prove this by saying, in my video, Psycho TikTok Mom accidentally gets exposed that I'm an idiot for reacting to a Libs of TikTok Twitter post. So he like very quickly goes from a Cheeto was apparently dishonest for framing a video a certain way to a bomb threat was called into a fucking children's hospital and he's an idiot for not being more careful with what he talks about because then he could make a video that's going to make somebody threaten a hospital.
A useful idiot is a person that propagandizes for a cause without fully comprehending the cause's goals. In this case, the cause in question is this anti-LGBTQ disinformation pipeline. Libs of TikTok posts a video framing gay parents or teachers as groomers, Fox News and all the rest.
The difference with this, Kagami, is that yes, people can be flawed, but they are people that are being put in a position where they're meant to like have the best interests of the common people. And like, that is what their job is. We're putting our lives in these people's hands. So yes, people can be flawed, but when you are in a position like that, same thing with police officers, like you don't get to be like capable of heinous shit like everyone else because you have way more authority over the everyday average person than anybody else does. Like, I'm a streamer. There's tons of horrible things about me. But I'm also I'm not a police officer. I'm not entrusted to uphold the law. I'm not entrusted to literally uphold people's actual health. I have responsibilities that I should behave accordingly so that way I don't influence people down a horrible path. But like if you choose to be a doctor, a nurse, a policeman, whatever, you have a duty to the people above all else. If you think that you have too many personal biases that is going to cloud your judgment, then do not get into this line of work. It's really as simple as that.
To broadcast this framing in order to demonize this community of people with the end goal of stripping them of their rights, of legislating away their humanity. A Cheeto contributes to this pipeline by uncritically sharing a false story from this same source. And while his motivations may not be the same as these other outlets, he is ultimately helping them with their agenda by sharing this story, whether he knows it or not. We went over it in my last video, but just to get anyone up to speed that didn't watch that, the story in question was...
You know what that reminds me of? Y'all seen that video of that cop literally running on a kid who was like eating a burger in his car or some shit, and because the car looked like a car that evaded him yesterday, and he literally shot the kid, while the kid is like driving away and he's trying to chase him or whatever, and it turns out the vehicle was not the vehicle that evaded him. Like, how? You know what cops have the ability to do? Look up license plates. If you think that's the car that evaded you, why would you not look up the license plate number? That cop literally attempted murder. The dude was literally like eating a burger, like in a parking lot. The kid like has the burger in his mouth, right? The cop flings open the door. I don't think the cop had the gun out yet, but he was like, I think he told him to exit the vehicle. And then the kid is fucking scared shitless. So then the kid closes the door and tries to run off. And then that's when the cop takes out the gun and shoots him.
Was related to a clip from a TikTok live stream. During this live stream,
he had the gun out from the start. Even worse.
was supposedly exposed by her son for convincing him to be a part of the LGBTQ
That shit happened in my
Cheeto,
neighborhood.
who found the clip on Libs of TikTok, plays it in his video, pausing intermittently to insinuate that the mom was being exposed, implying that she was, in fact, a groomer, grooming her son to be gay.
Keep the story I posted. Hold on. Did you see that shit about the cops that arrested someone and put them in their car, which they parked? I saw that. I saw the video. The cops arrested somebody, put them in the back of the cop car, and they left the cop car like in the middle of the train tracks. And then a train is coming, beeping its fucking its horn or whatever the fuck, telling them to get the fuck out of the way. And the person is literally screaming for help in the police car. Literally screaming for help in the back of the police car. Which, by the way, like, this is, to me, that is simply attempted murder. Because you're going to feel the ground shaking when a train is coming. You're going to see the light from like 6 fucking billion years away. You're going to hear the fucking train coming. There is just no and even if that wasn't all true, who the fuck parks on the train tracks at all? Like, that's like number one thing you should not do.
If I'm not a part of it, she'll try to convince me to join it.
Join what?
The LGBTQIA plus community.
Bro, you got caught. The fact that this kid was reading a question that says, does your mom say you have to be LGBT? That's just not a question that should ever have to be asked, because no parent should ever be making their kid become LGBT. Just the fact alone that that question was asked.
The fact that somebody who fucking flips burgers at McDonald's or some shit, like, has to take more accountability and have more personal responsibility than fucking police officers is crazy. The fact that a 14-year-old kid can get a job at McDonald's and be expected to be held to a higher standard than police officers is absolutely insane. Like, imagine what would happen if, like, a fry cook spit in a burger before giving it out or something. They would be, like, pretty much instantly fired, maybe even charged. Probably charged. You know what I mean? Instantly. They might never get a job again, low key, after that. But a police officer can either attempt murder or flat out murder, and they get a couple weeks paid leave.
Is alarming to me and raises some red flags right off the bat. My mom doesn't care which sexuality I am as long as I'm not straight, you know? That's what I gathered. And if that's what it turns out to be, bro, we got some problems. Like, I might have to talk to your mom, you know what I'm saying?
Now, Cheeto does go through and search for the full clip of this stream and plays that in his video. After doing this, he concludes that the mom was not a groomer and that the kid had just misspoken.
Okay, so it's good that the mom eventually said, like, yeah, I wouldn't force my kid to be gay or LGBT, because that's sort of what it was sounding like for a little bit.
Him doing this is better than if he hadn't. He looked into it further and added context that was missing from when it was originally posted, so credit where it's due for that. However, at that point, it didn't really matter. It was too late.
What's wrong with
the
being
damage
straight?
had already been
Nothing. Did you not just listen to the clip? Nothing. Nobody said there was anything wrong with being straight.
done. The main takeaway from members of his audience was that the mom had groomed her kid into being gay, and that this is indicative of some broader trend in society
this is crazy.
that the gay community should be ashamed of. Let's look at some of the comments from his video. This is one of those times where I have to say I'm ashamed to be a part of the LGBT. This should be considered child abuse if it isn't already. You can't force a kid to be some way, and even then, this kid is way too young to be having discussions like that. If a child this young...
Okay. One. The mother did not force that kid to be anyway. She literally went on to state that she does not care if her children are straight. She would never force them to do anything. So, I mean, that's just incorrect. 2, if this kid had said he had a crush on a girl at school, would that still be considered way too young to be having discussions like that? If that kid said that he liked girls or that he had a girlfriend at school, would you care? No, you would not. So don't say that it's because the kid is too young to be having discussions like that when it's not. These discussions need to be fostered and need to be had earlier. So that way, if a kid is feeling these feelings, they can be fully understanding of whatever it is that they are feeling. And that way, they can have the support that they need to truly just be themselves.
Some way. And even then, this kid is way too young to be having discussions like that. If a child this young is going to come out as gay, it'll be by saying, "Mommy, I like this boy," or "Mommy, I like this girl," not by saying that they are part of the LGBTQ. Celebrate inclusivity if your child says their crush is the same gender, not by convincing your kids they need to be a part of it. These people give us a bad name. I would never try to force
Having
LGBTQ.
a crush is way different from gender identity. So explain. First of all, we're talking about sexual orientation, not gender identity. But even if we were talking about gender identity, that's another conversation. What would be the difference between a young kid having a crush on a girl at school and having a crush on a boy at school? Because that's what the topic of this conversation is. But if you want to bring gender identity into it, we can talk about that too.
Down someone's throat. You can educate your children on LGBTQ when they are old and mature enough. Forcing it upon them is just downright wrong. These are just a handful of the many responses to a
Nope, that was not off the video. That was in my chat.
He's spread anti-LGBTQ misinformation by presenting the story the way that he did, regardless of intent or perceived due diligence. By showing the full video, the audience has come away with the false.
I thought there was the same shit. Nobody keeping up with proper terminology. See, like, you can't make blanket statements like that and then just be wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's where it gets frustrating and where you get dismissive towards, like, issues that people are going through with, right? Nobody keeping up with proper terminology. It's not like that doesn't even make sense. Because you just called an apple an orange. Like, it's not keeping up with proper terminology. It's like you were wrong. Like, it is what it is. Like, sexual gender identity is what somebody literally identifies as. Sexual orientation is what they like. What's wrong with being wrong? Nothing. But you're not saying that you're wrong, moron. You said, I thought there was the same shit, not gonna lie, nobody keeping up with proper terminology. And I just explained to you why that was wrong, and then you said, what's wrong with being wrong? Like, the only reason why you're not banned is because I'm actually trying to teach you some shit and hopefully make shit make sense to you, right? Because that's what I try to do sometimes. Unless you're being like just downright hateful or whatever the fuck, like, I'm gonna try to like teach you some shit so that way hopefully you can actually learn some shit, right? So if you have any questions regarding gender identity or sexual orientation, feel free to ask. This is a good resource for it. I'm not gonna pretend like I have the answers, but we have tons of people in chat who are way smarter than me when it comes to this topic. We have people in chat who are parts of this community way more deeply, and they'll be glad to educate you. So if you have actual questions and you actually want to learn, then do so. But the way that you're coming about shit, I'm telling you right now, it feels like a little antagonistic. Like when you said, oh, well, what's wrong with being straight? Like, no one's attacking you, bro. No one said there was anything wrong with being straight. Like, you're already coming at this as if like you're a victim or like you're being attacked when no one was ever doing that.
Notion that grooming was taking place by a gay person where it was not. Now, a counterpoint someone might bring up here is that, well, Noah, people don't always watch YouTube videos until the end. If a Cheeto's audience didn't watch the video until halfway when he corrected himself, can he really be blamed for that? And, well, yeah, in some sense, I think he can. Titles and thumbnails convey information. They prime the viewer for what they are about to see. They are, after all, the main...
Like, I get why, like, I'm not blaming him for like clamming up or like even getting defensive or getting nervous because like, let's be honest, like a streamer with like 300 viewers just called him out and like the whole chat is like getting on him. Like, yeah, that makes sense. I'd probably feel a little targeted and I'd probably get nervous too. Like, people aren't built for that. You know, it is a nerve-wracking thing. I just want him to understand that like, I'm not trying to go at you crazy. I'm just like trying to like help you if anything.
motivating factors that influence whether or not someone might click on your video. His title references a mom being exposed, and his thumbnail references her son's young age and the fact that he is gay. For the first half of the video, his narration obviously implies grooming. He compares what happens to the kid as being convinced to do other activities.
Like, I get encouraging your son to try new things. Like, if your son isn't on the basketball team and you want him to join it, you say, oh, you know, I'm gonna convince my son to join the basketball team. But when it comes to, like, being gay, that's not the sort of thing that you try to convince your son to do. This to me seems like the most obvious shit on planet Earth, but forced homosexuality is just like especially from a parent, like, why would you do that?
All of this falls perfectly in line with these prominent culture war narratives about the gay agenda and radical leftism going too far and coming for your children. When people click on this video, they are looking for evidence of a mom being exposed, and for the first half of the video, that's what they get. Not exposed for being a bad parent because her kid is swearing on a live stream or has their hair dyed blue, as a Cheeto later tried to argue in his video.
Then the kid also reads a message in chat that he didn't like and was like, shut up, bitch. And then the mom like laughs. So I'm just basically seeing a mom who's streaming on TikTok live talking about pansexuality with her 8-year-old son, and then her daughter with bright green dyed hair, and then the son is cussing up a storm on stream, and I'm just like, man, like,
if Buddy could see me when I was 8, see, Pluto, I let you have a few chat messages to explain yourself, but you're just coming across like being a victim. Y'all pulled up with pitchforks in chat. I ain't trying to trigger 300 niggas. Nobody's triggered. I tried explaining it to you multiple times that we're just trying to talk to you, and then you still trying to say like you getting attacked and then this, that, whatever. Like, I promise you're not that important, man. You're just not.
okay, you're a mom, but you're not a good one, bro. You're getting exposed on your own TikTok live as being a bad mom.
No, this evidence is used to insinuate her being exposed for child grooming, something that he knows to be false. All of this plays into the framing that gay and trans parents and teachers are groomers without having to say so outright. He may be ignorant to the broader context of these narratives, but that doesn't excuse his participation in sustaining them. So I got an opportunity to speak with Shay Ellis, the mom from that TikTok.
He just wanted to defend himself. First of all, there was nothing to defend himself from because he wasn't being attacked. Secondly, we opened up the floor for him to say anything he wanted to, and he chose what he wanted to say.
Live stream about that clip of her and her family being reposted onto Libs of TikTok. A friend of hers was able to get us into contact, and apparently this is the first time that anyone's ever spoken to her about any of these events that isn't trying to use her and her family as right-wing outrage bait. Videos of her family have amassed millions of views, nearly all from spaces that are trying to falsely paint her as a predator by lying about and misrepresenting the video's contents. I think it's important that we hear her story to understand what's really at stake here when misinformation is able to be spread so effortlessly and so closely tied to violent homophobic rhetoric. Here is Shay discussing the TikTok live stream clip from that day in January.
My son literally was just trying to say, if I were not gay, my mother would want me to be an ally. But because he was at the time an 8-year-old child who was like stuttering and stammering over his words, and he used the word convince when he meant, I think, like encourage. And like you could see my older child like turn and like get annoyed because they instantly knew like my brother is saying the wrong word and this is coming out wrong. What's so upsetting to me, like we love to see the innocence of children become popularized and viral with adorable things like Corn Kid and other amazing, wonderful, beautiful angel children who say things in that really cute, special way that children do. And then my son, when talking about the LGBTQ topic, does that cute little innocent thing that kids do and he misuses words. For some reason, we like to take that and change it into something that it's not. The amount of times I've had to like double back and explain that I don't convince or force my children to be queer because of that video, I mean, that's been exhausting. I will say that's been really exhausting.
Next, she detailed what specifically happened on the day of that stream and how immediate the effects were once this unidentified user.
Like what's crazy is like they like an 8-year-old wouldn't even be able to articulate or understand that they were being like brainwashed to be LGBT. You know what I mean? Like what 8-year-old kid is like that self-aware? If that was what was really going on, like just, I mean, use some common sense.
That shared her stream with Libs of TikTok got what they wanted.
I don't know how or why Libs of TikTok was even involved in that live stream. Like, we were literally live answering super sweet questions from followers, and then like it just got like dive bombed by a bunch of extra people joining, and then suddenly somebody joined and was like, just so you know, this is everywhere. And it just kind of like, while we were live, blew up on Twitter while we were still live. I had no idea it was happening until like one of the people who were like, I guess a part of it, came and like told on them. The questions that led up to that one that ended up being the clip, you know, to start this whole scenario, they were normal questions. And then suddenly it was, does your parents want you to be LGBTQ or something like that? My son was quite literally breadcrumbed along by the question. Whoever took that video, I'll never know who it was. Whoever did it knew exactly what they were doing at that moment.
When you're a parent with LGBTQ kids, once you're shared on this platform, a giant target is painted on your back, which basically means that from then on, you can't do or say anything on the internet without it being taken totally out of context and blown up into something that it's not. Usually something horrible. Take, for example, this clip that Shay posted from a pride parade 8 months after first being featured on Libs of TikTok. Her son wanted to try dancing on this pole, so he went up and spun around a bit. Due to this hate mob's heightened focus on Shay, this moment blew up online. It was covered on Fox News, Daily Wire, The Daily Mail, and more. The coverage is, of course, trying to paint her as a groomer for forcing her kid onto a stripper pole.
You know, we hear about the groomer.
One thing, first things first, pole dancing is not inherently sexual. You know, strippers have stripped on poles before, but pole dancing and doing and that whole line of activity is actually fucking impressive as shit. If you've ever watched, like there are legit, like me and Lena, oh my God, how long ago was this? Lena and I watched this channel that did like dance routines, right? And it was like, I'm pretty sure it was like some shit for some school or whatever. And, you know, people would do like artistic actual like dancing, you know what I mean? So some people would do like, I don't want to say like ballerina, but like, I guess stuff like that. Some people would do freestyle hip hop dancing, and some people would do pole dancing. And by the way, this is like official, you know what I'm like? There's nothing sexual about this. It's like official, like dancing shit. Like pole dancing has become so sexualized by media that like people will see that shit and immediately assume, oh, like stripper pole, like, you know, whatever. When it's not even like that. Wait, what is this? Matt Walsh advocates for the impregnation of girls as young as 16 because it's technically when they're at their most fertile. In a newly unearthed rant about how teenage pregnancy isn't the problem, it's unwed pregnancy. I'm not watching that. Yeah, I'm not watching that. That is fucking crazy. Shout out Domo for pulling that up immediately. Holy shit.
Groomers in the public school system. We hear about groomers in the media and academia and Hollywood and all these other institutions. And it is true that all these institutions do have a grooming problem, no question about it. But the really dark reality is that there's also a grooming problem in the institution of the family.
But that's not what happened. This is a totally innocuous moment of a kid wanting to try something new. No one forced him to do anything. You can hear him ask to go try this thing in the video.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's okay. Sometimes you lose a shoe. Sometimes I will lose a shoe.
Pole dancing is another thing that's been swept up in this culture war and treated by conservatives as inherently sexual when it's not. Poles like this are used for exercise, artistic expression, acrobatics, and various other non-sexual things. This is a totally harmless, wholesome moment that Shay captured of her family, and it's only been made sexual by the people that choose to sexualize it. People like conservative YouTuber Matt Walsh.
Yes, sir.
Now, this video was posted, I think, but the most important thing to keep in mind here and to take from that is that the video was posted by not a concerned citizen who happened to be walking by and saw this happening. but was posted by the boy's mother. And she said she was very happy about this and put it up on
Bro, you have like a 12-inch MacBook Air. Like that MacBook is worth $850. You're telling me you were this big hotshot, you can't even have a MacBook Pro? You can't even have a 14-inch MacBook Pro with the Retina display with over 1,000 nits of peak brightness with HDR? Come on, gang.
TikTok. I think it's been taken down since then. That shows, by the way, the bubble these freaks live in, that she posted this video and didn't expect any backlash at all. I mean, she's got her young son on a stripper pole being taught how to
Calling
strip
it a stripper
by
pole is crazy.
almost entirely naked man at a gay pride rally. And she thought that she would get nothing but...
Like 80% to 90% of what he just said was made up, by the way, because none of that was true. Well, here's what is true. A kid did spin on a pole. That is true. This nigga said he is being taught to strip on a stripping pole by a half-naked gay man.
high fives and smiley emojis in response, and she got some backlash and then she deleted it.
Do you notice how he said that the boy was being taught to strip there? So where was that happening, Matt? The boy here, spinning around on this pole, where is he stripping? Stripping? Do you know what stripping is, Matt? Stripping as in stripping off your clothes. He's not doing anything like that in this video, but it sounds like in Matt's imagination, he is. Matt Walsh is imagining a fully clothed child stripping his clothes off. Seems a bit odd in my opinion. Shay went on to talk about what's happened to her and her family in the aftermath of being swept up in this bigoted media pipeline. They've been harassed and doxxed countless times.
Kiwi Farms, before it was taken down, I was on that. My children's faces, my face, my employer, my address, my mother-in-law, what their names are, my in-laws, where they work, where my wife works, how long she's worked there. I mean, everything you could need to know about somebody to cause bodily harm, they know it. That's tragic. That's terrible. That's, not really a great way to live your life, knowing that you're a working class poor American who has a huge target on your back because you're gay and raising little gay children. It's scary knowing that the wrong people have that information.
Lastly, I asked Shay specifically about people like a Cheeto who share these stories uncritically, not necessarily out of malice, but out of ignorance, using them for quick, easy content without thinking about the broader implications.
Begs the question that when he becomes less ignorant and he is informed on how he's helping the pipeline kind of function, will he give a shit? That's the question. Because let me tell you, some of these people who have stitched my video, okay, these I'll call them concern trolls. They don't care. Do they care? Will this guy care? I don't know. But most of them I found, they don't care, because at the end of the day, I'm already a used up, crumbled up cow in the corner of their room. They got the coattail ride that they needed for the 500,000 views. I don't think people realize the weight of what they're doing until there's a headline of this person is dead, and then it's a hashtag, and then everybody suddenly cares. And I don't personally want to wait to that point.
This last quote is especially
Drip, thank you for the 21 months, brother. I appreciate you,
so
man.
often espoused
Thank you,
spaces. That video from Matt Walsh, for example, about Shay and her family, ends with a call to violent action against people like Shay.
In many of these families, that's where the grooming starts. And it's really unthinkable to those of us who are normal, decent people. It's like just unthinkable that a parent would engage in this kind of activity.
I think it takes a while to update, Elder.
That's what a lot of these parents do, which is all the more reason why the good guys have to step up and speak up for these kids, because they have no one. I mean, what chance or hope does this kid have that this is the environment he's in? This is what his mom is subjecting him to? I mean, someone should have showed up. And I get, if you're a normal person, you don't even want to walk through an event like this, but were there no just bystanders who happened to be walking by and would have seen this and could have just went over to that stripper pole and knocked it over and said, "You're not doing this here. This is not going to happen"?
If only there was a bystander that could have slapped the SM7B out of your hand when you said that 16-year-old should be impregnated. If only there was somebody to beat the shit out of you in that moment. In GTA or like in Street Fighter 6, like beat the shit out of you in a 1st to 5 set in GTA or in Street Fighter 6.
Not gonna allow you to do this. You're not putting kids on a stripper pole, you freaks. That's what we need. Someone to step up. Lots of us to step up.
Commenters under Matt's video shared this same sentiment. If anyone thinks this is normal or acceptable, then you are truly void of all morals and anything that is pure. It's just disgusting and devilish. It fills me with so much anger to the point of wishing to act violently on these people. One commenter
We know you ain't getting off your bed, bitch. Like,
proudly brags about threatening violence against a trans woman who, it sounds like, as far as we know, was trying to use the bathroom. People need to stand up and say something. Let the freaks know you know what's going on and won't talk.
Like, how is this just not bigoted language? Like, how do you type this and like not be like, wow, this sounds a little bigoted of me to say, to call gay people the freaks? Like, is there zero self-aware? Okay, obviously there's zero self-awareness, but like, how deranged do you have to be?
Tolerate it anymore. I'm a gay man and stopped a man from entering the women's bathroom in a busy mall. He was in a dress, but fooling no one. I told
a literal pick me. He wants to be called one of the good ones. Oh my fucking god. Well, yo, Scoob, you still got that image of that white guy who was like, as a black gay man, Obama ruined my life. Like, all right, buddy.
Told him to use
right here. I'm a black gay guy. I can personally say that Obama did nothing for me. My life only changed a little bit, and it was for the worse. Everything is so much better under Trump, though. I feel respected, which I never do when Democrats are involved. Like, first of all, like you these people act like, oh, because they threw in the fact that they're gay, like they're now like immune to criticism. Like, you can say whatever you want, but if you say, well, as a gay man, I go like, drats. I was gonna poke a hole in your logic, but you said you were gay, now I can't. Damn it. You know, like what the fuck? Like, even if you are actually a gay dude, this is still stupid as fuck. Like, what? That's how Ruben got away. Literally. Yeah, you're spitting. You're spitting.
the single room toilet. I just seen a mother and daughter enter, and there was no way he was going in. I did say you can pursue your entry, but it will be with your teeth down your throat. This is the type of stuff that goes on thanks to this pipeline. The promotion of vigilante hate crimes against the LGBTQ.
Yo, Samson, I fuck with you heavy, gang. Oh, I think he's in a hotel. I was about to say, this TV looks about 8 years old, gang. We got to get you on an LG OLED because this ain't it, gango. But I think he's in a hotel, or at the very least, not his normal house. So, you know, we'll let him slide.
Community right out in the open for everyone to
That's
see.
LeBron is
Shay
too
just
easy
one of the
vibes.
thousands at this point. LGBTQ
He's visiting his.
parents
Oh,
and
he did
teachers
say that
have
in the
been
beginning.
thrust into this bigoted spotlight. Libs
My
of
bad. I've been
TikTok
watching this
finds
video for
dozens
12
of new
hours, so
targets
I'm been
every
getting
single
triggered.
day. So few of these stories are being told. Legacy media can only keep up with the really big ones, the bomb threats and so on. So I do hope that people start covering more of these, or at least reaching out to people that are affected, following up with these families and teachers, because it's not showing signs of slowing down anytime soon. Libs of TikTok, Fox News, The Daily Wire, they all know what they're doing. It's stochastic terrorism.
Like, you know what's crazy? They only care about the assault of women if it's quote unquote a man in a dress sneaking into bathrooms to assault women. Nigga, what about your brother that assaulted women at the club last weekend, nigga? You don't care? Shut your ass up. What about you? Making sexual remarks towards the women in your workplace, and they're very uncomfortable, but they can't say anything because you're in a higher position of power than them. What about these people? What about that waitress you got overly flirty and touchy with while she was fucking trying to give you your pancakes at IHOP, nigga. What about these women that are getting harassed and assaulted? You don't care about them? Jesus fucking Christ.
And they make a lot of money doing it. They profit off of this narrative and would lose big if they ever presented anything to the contrary to their homophobic, terrified right-wing audiences. And the rest, those who share these videos without thinking, who accept their narratives uncritically. People like a Cheeto. Just because they don't have the same goals doesn't mean that they're not helping people like this achieve theirs. This will always be the case, and it will keep happening until it's too late. Okay, folks, that's all I wanted to say about that video. This is the last time I will be responding to a Cheeto. I wanted to do one follow.
Like, has there ever even been an instance of like someone who is trans or whatever going into a woman's bathroom and assaulting a woman? Like, where is this fear coming from? And like, let me not say that because there might be an instance of that. But the fact of the matter is that this is happening so few and far between, if it even is happening at all, that it's like, it's a non-issue. If it was actually happening and if it was an issue, obviously then that's an issue that, you know, should be solved. But like, the greater issue at hand is the harassment and assault of women or women presenting people, period.